writing, and I haven't been waiting for a response. I've actually been waiting for validation, you know? I've been waiting for somebody to say, you know, you've got great writing capability, what you've got to offer is brilliant, you matter, your story matters, your journey matters, these other women's stories who were within this book, their stories matter.
Drive. So what I started to do, I started to just like buy and sell domain names when the internet was like literally you had to plug it into your wall. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
It's so easy because you're chasing this dream and this vision that you have, and to feel as though you need to be working all hours of the day. And yes, there are some days where you need to push yourself that little bit harder, but you really need, if you haven't got your health and your well-being, you haven't got any business.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories, where I am joined by phenomenal women from the world of business and enterprise. If you haven't already done so, as usual, make sure you click that subscribe or follow button to make sure that you're the first to know when I release a new video. And at the moment, I am just releasing She's the Boss videos on Sundays at 8, but I am going to be doing some midweek videos, so make sure that you sign up and subscribe. Today, I'm excited to be joined by Jen Scott, the co-founder and creative director of Hustle and Heels. Jen, thank you so much for joining me.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
I love the name of the business. Tell us more. What does the business do and where did the name come from?
Yeah, so Hustle and Heels is a social enterprise we set up about 5 years ago now to support underrepresented females initially to start, improve and grow their business. We do that for events, workshops, programs that essentially equip them with the tools, the resources that they need, the support as well to help them make better business decisions and increase their own chances to success. The name Hustle and Heels was essentially, you know, what we were, you know, that whole lifestyle that I suppose we were trying to, you know, aiming to sort of work towards and get to, the hustling in the heels, you know, that was it. That's what we were aspiring to. And it's still very much, you know, that whole lifestyle aspect of it. So that's kind of, where the names came from. So we now work with men. So the name kind of puts them off a little bit, but we kind of explain we're welcoming to all. So they can definitely still attend the events and things like that.
It's interesting because my business is called She's the Boss, which I thought would, because I focus on working with women as well, I thought that would make it quite clear that it's a kind of women-focused business, but men still come and ask for me to help them with their business. So it's interesting that you sometimes think that it might have an adverse effect, but for some reason men don't seem to be that fussed, to be honest.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it's also because there's not necessarily the same spaces and places for them to go to ask that direct support and advice. So I think that's what we've definitely found anyway, for sure.
So tell me about your journey. What were you doing prior to launching the business?
Gosh, everything. So literally, I've always been really entrepreneurial, always, you know, been doing something on the side of either working, studying and things like that. So when I graduated university, well, even prior to that, you know, I had a fashion business, I was doing cupcakes, tried to do a little bit of radio presenting, like literally everything you can think of, I've probably tried to do it at some point. But the one that stuck was a hair extension brand called Hair ID. So we set up, 10 years ago now, I think we're well within our 11th year. So I was doing that, and Hustle and Heels, funny enough, actually was our way of getting our prospective customers in a room to try and sell to them. So we thought, you know, we need to get these women offline. We need to kind of just understand them a bit better, tell them about, you know, us, our story, the products, and they'll buy that way. We went to America, Atlanta. My sister lives in Atlanta, and that is just like the central of like the hub of networking. Black-owned businesses, you know, they're thriving out there. And you know, if you don't network, you're not out at some sort of social event, like it's just not the done thing. So we went over there, sat down with a couple of women that run their own social networks out there who are doing amazing. They have like hundreds of people turn up to their events. So really just to try to understand how, you know, they created the event, you know, the atmosphere in the event, so that we can come and create something here that would enable us, as I said, to, you know, attract our potential customers. We knew that at the time, you know, there was nothing really for, you know, black women to go to dress up, look fancy, some cocktails and a dinner, but wanting to get it right. So as I said, spoke to them, came back, and we had our first event, and we had an influencer, Brini Lee, come down for our first one, and really just asked her about, you know, her journey, and then, you know, sort of started talking about hair, and you know, we have these products and da 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 da. Absolutely no one bought hair at all. But what they really loved was the fact that it was a space that they could come to hear about people's journeys and their stories to success. So we thought pretty quickly, okay, we've got something here. Everyone loved the event. Okay, we didn't make any sales, but, you know, is this something we just you know, want to put to the side? So we had a few more events, invited a few more people down, and it just kind of, from a table of like 10, it just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now we have like over 100 people, you know, turn up to the events on a month basis. We've kind of changed the format from a lunch event now to, you know, sort of a more business focused panel discussion, pitch competition, but it's really social. Like the main key themes and aspects of our events is that it's really sociable. You can come in, it's just like being with friends, because I think that was missing essentially from that whole networking environment here. So we've coined the term socializing your way to success. You know, and it's just really about creating a space where we can come and be comfortable, you know, have those honest conversations about how to start, improve, and grow your business, speak to people that are already doing it, just mix and mingle and things like that, really.
I love it. I love socialize your way to success. I like the sound of that. And it sounds less intimidating than networking.
Exactly. We try not to say the word networking. We try and say things like connecting and things like that, because it really does put people off. And you'll see people come in and they're just like, oh my gosh, like, who do I speak to? What do I say? So we really just try and take all of that out of, you know, the whole, you know, sort of experience for people. You know, keep them busy with different activities, you know, keep the content really engaging, base it around what they want and what they need. And as a result, people love it. They keep coming up. As I said, I had the event yesterday. We had over sort of 80 people turn up, despite, you know, this coronavirus going on at the minute. And you just think, gosh, they actually showed up, you know, for us, for themselves, to grow and promote their business. So yeah.
But it really demonstrates the power of the brand and the value that you're providing. That people still showed up. So well done for that. So it's kind of an accidental business then, really. You didn't
most definitely. It literally started by accident. It was not intended at all. But I think that's the beauty of it as well. Sometimes when you don't realise that, you know, there is an need, you stumble across something, explore that. Like, stop and take a minute to think, you know, what is this? And we did spend a lot of time trying to understand what it was that we created, why people kept coming back. We had focus groups. We sat down with our network and said, look, what is it you like about this? Why do you keep coming back? So we ourselves could understand it and also explain it a bit better, because for us, you know, saying, okay, come to our event, come to our networking event, people are like, you know, that's nothing new really. But, you know, trying to kind of explain the experience, the vibe, the atmosphere in the room has been so hard for us. So really just kind of sitting down with the community to try and find how, you know, we can do that better is a big part of what we do, because like you said, it happened by accident. It wasn't anything intentional, but it's here, it's growing, it's, you know, something that people love and keep coming back to. So yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So going back to, you said you started your hair business, but you had a variety of businesses before that. Yeah. Where did that entrepreneurial spark come from? What was the kind of, so I know for me, the first thing that, when I think about when did I realize I was going to go into business, when I used to wash cars for my dad and for neighbours to get paid for it. And I used to plait hair at school and get my little friends to pay for that as well. Do you remember the first kind of entrepreneurial type of thing that you engaged in?
That's a really good question, actually. I've never actually thought about that. I think for me, I've just always been doing something. My family is quite creative. My grandma, you know, she, on my mum's side, she, you know, loved to draw and, you know, paint. My mum, photographer, loves to, you know, very artistic as well. My brother's an architect. You know, like everyone in the family does something creative with their hands. My dad, you know, an electrician, he used to do, like we used to have on the weekends, we said, oh, Dad, can we go and do carpentry in the garden? And he used to give us some tools and we used to go out there and saw, like we were always just doing something with, you know, our hands. And my older sisters as well would come around and they'd plait their hair. They would always look really cool and I'd want to be like them. So I'd make my own clothes to try and, you know, to try and keep up, because my mum was not entertaining buying any of those clothes I was just going to grow out of. So yeah, just kind of always trying to think of a way to kind of keep up, I guess, or just express myself. I am, as you'll probably see, quite an expressive person. So I think it's just been part and parcel of me and who I am, and just always finding different ways to try and express that creativity, whether it be through fashion, art, whatever else comes up into my mind at any given time.
And bringing it back forward, but then going back again, you said you went to Atlanta to go and kind of explore how things are done over there. And you also mentioned the fact that Black business is really thriving over there. And that's something that I'm very much aware of. The events spaces, you're saying networking and socializing is a really big deal. And I don't necessarily think that same mentality is part of the kind of Black British business culture here. What are your thoughts on that? And do you have any kind of, I suppose, thoughts on how we as a community of Black business people can help to cultivate that a little bit more?
Yeah, well, that's essentially what we're trying to do through Hustle Hill. It's like every event, that is it, essentially. And it's so interesting. I had a conversation yesterday with one of the ladies who left, and she was almost in tears. And, you know, because people are just, they just don't know how to move forward. They've got these ideas, they know what they want to do, but sometimes, like, where do I go? With people that look like me, with people that get it and understand, where I can feel comfortable about having conversations. And at the previous event, you know, I just was speaking to them, you know, finding out how they found the event. And, you know, they said, oh, we're sort of struggling with this. So I, you know, sort of giving them some advice. And she came back yesterday and she was just like, I just wanted to say thank you. Like, I've made so much progress since the last event. You probably don't even remember the conversation, but what you said has helped to move me forward. And I was just like, wow. And she said, just being in a room where I can see other people that look like me, you know, I can connect with, collaborate with. She was just like, I've never had this before. And that's, you know, just going back to what you said, like a real problem. And I think something that we missed here, because when you go to America, people are so open, you know, they'll talk to you, hey, what do you do? And then they're like, right, let's connect, let's collaborate. Or I know this person, da, 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 da. It's constant, like it's, and, you know, there's such a buzz. When I go to America and I come back, people are like, right, you've been to Atlanta, haven't you? Because the energy like you come back with is just insane. And you ask people what they do, and they're like, right, I'm a baker, I make wedding dresses, I do makeup, I do hair. Depends on what day you ask me, like, what do you need? What do you want? Like, and you're like, oh, okay. Like, it's that type of energy. And it's just, we really do need that here. And, you know, their ability to connect and to collaborate and join forces and support each other is, yeah, something that's really missing here. But something, as I said, we're trying to solve, something we're trying to do, just getting women in a room, like, what do you do? Who can you connect with? Who can you reach out to for help? You know, because, yeah, you see, that's why I think they're doing so well over there. Because, you know, they've just got those communities of support and, you know, which we don't. But it's definitely getting better. In the last 5 years that we have been, you know, running events, we can see the difference. We see the change. People are more open. You know, people would come into our events and they'd be like, why do you want my name? I'm like,
you are. Hello.
You know who you are, we need to take you to your seat, we've got you a little name tag. And it was funny, one woman, she came back and apologized. She's like, I'm so sorry, like, I was just so tense, I didn't know what to expect, you know. And I was just like, okay, I mean, I get it, because we're not used to having those types of environments and experiences here. But it is changing, you know, one event at a time. But yeah, there is still a difference. You can still see, I could feel it. So yeah.
And I think also, speaking from, I'm based in Birmingham, obviously you're based in London, so I'm also aware that there is a distinct difference between how business is done in London versus how it's done here. And one of the things that I find within Black business people in Birmingham specifically is that sometimes the aspiration isn't that high.
Yeah. And
when I then compare, number one, to London, but then secondly to America, some of the people that I've spoken to who run business in America, their thing is, right, I'm trying to turn over millions, not a million, millions. But then I would speak to kind of business owners here, and they're kind of like, well, I just want to make some money. I just want to kind of get by, as opposed to having a specific goal in mind. Is that something that you've experienced? Or?
Most definitely. We do not dream big enough.
Yeah.
We do not dream big enough. The conversations, the language is all limiting. You know, we're putting our own ceilings there essentially. And a lot of it is mindset shift that we have to do. A lot of it is, you know, helping people to change that language. So when we come to the events and when people come to the events or come to our marketing masterclasses that we do with the British Library, and, you know, they're telling about their businesses and, you know, they're talking about pricing and not charging enough. I'm like, no, triple that. You need to be getting your work. And they're like, no. And I'm like, no, like, you really need to understand the value that you bring. And that is, you know, widespread. We do not value ourselves enough. Whereas in America, they're just like, you know, pay me what, you know, and but yeah, it's a real thing here. But I said, we really focus on that and making sure that the speakers are very confident and, you know, helping them to sort of subconsciously raise their own levels and standards. The men that sit on the panel, you know, they're doing amazing things. They've achieved greatness. So if they can do it, you can. And we make sure there's no sort of us and them in our events. So the speakers, you know, you can go and talk to them. You can go, so everyone is on a level playing field, just to, again, reinforce the fact that you too can achieve. You know, you too can get there. You too can dream bigger. Anything is possible and things like that. But it is a real thing here. And, you know, through everything we do, we're just, you know, really trying to subtly help people to realize and understand their value and their worth. And you charge for that and, you know, be unapologetic with it.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm trying to do the same. So kind of my motto, but also my core methodology of how I engage the people that I work with is think big, take action, keep pushing. Because one of the things that I've also found is sometimes you can get them to change the mindset with the kind of think big element and have these big dreams, but then the take action and keep pushing kind of element. So actually getting up and doing the specific things and looking at the strategic future of the business and then not getting knocked back down when you come across obstacles or when the doors close in front of you. Like resilience, I think, is another key area that I don't know if it's a community thing, but yeah, there seems to be a lack of resilience. So even if we can get past the mindset bit, then there's a lot of work around resilience and not thinking, oh, the world is against me, I'm going to give up because one person said no. Is that something you've experienced?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because the same question came up yesterday and a lady said, you know, what about resilience? Like, how do I push through? How do I, you know, get up every day and keep going, being a small business, starting out, not having many customers, you know, not seeing the sales yet. And, you know, it's a process and you have to endure it. You have to push through it. You have to, you know, I say do one thing a day towards, you know, your goals or ambitions, just working towards that, you know, break it down. I actually did door-to-door sales. So, you know, for me, that, I mean, you literally, every door, they say on average, you knock on 100 doors and about, you'll only get 3 of them saying yes, for example. But you don't know where those yeses are going to come. So you have to knock at the next door with the same energy because it's just like, you don't know if that's going to be a yes. If I walked to the next door and I was just like, person next door said no, are you going to buy? You know, it just doesn't work like that. So you have to bring that same energy to every opportunity because you never know when it's going to come. It will come, but you just have to keep pushing. You just have to keep going. And I think it may be easy for me to say because, you know, I've had experience like that have, you know, enabled me to kind of keep going and pushing through. But yeah, it's a process that we just have to, you know, keep working on because there is no easy shortcut, you know, journey through that. You have to live and experience and feel and embrace it. But yeah, one step at a time, one day at a time, and one goal at a time, essentially.
Yeah, for sure. So you mentioned a few like organizations, and I can't remember if this was online or offline. So you said Microsoft.
Yes.
And I can't remember the other brand that you said, but you've clearly been able to forge out some really strong partnerships with some big brands. How have you approached that? And were they intentional partnerships?
Yeah, so the Microsoft actually reached out to us, and that was because of our consistency. So they were one of the ladies that had been following us silently online, hadn't been to any events or anything like that. She'd been following us for years, and she got a job at Microsoft within the sort of community building team. She reached out to us once she kind of settled in, and she said, look, I've been following you for a while. I absolutely love what you do. Now working at Microsoft, and I'd love to see what we can do together. So that's how that came about. And obviously I picked up the phone. I was just like, yeah, we're coming in for this meeting. We're going to figure it out, whatever you need. We're going to make this happen. But I've always been very clear on facts and figures as well, and understanding that value and being able to communicate that. You often only get one opportunity, especially with those type of brands, to be able to demonstrate the value that you can bring. Now, essentially, as I mentioned before in my opening, I said that we've got an online community of over 10,000 people either in business or interested in starting a business, predominantly underrepresented entrepreneurs. Now, Microsoft don't have direct access to women, black women, people of colour from other various backgrounds and things like that. We do. So that's a value that we bring. And understanding that, and then leading on that in that conversation that we had with them, when we went in. So it was just like, well, we can guarantee anywhere between 70 to 100 plus, underrepresented entrepreneurs into your store. They wouldn't be able to do that themselves, So, and not that they wouldn't, I suppose, be able to reach entrepreneurs, but they wouldn't know where to target us, essentially, or have that relatability that would get us in store, in those numbers. So, that there was the value, and it made sense. Our professionalism as well, that was something that she really spoke on. So we had our first event, and she was a bit nervous, and she said, you never know sometimes with external organizers, are they going to be on time? Is it going to run to, order? Is it going to be, just the whole preparation and the communication of that, like, how is that going to go? And, obviously that's her neck on the line because she's brought us in. So, she was just like, I'm nervous, Jen, you've got to deliver in here because everyone's looking at me, and, they don't necessarily always think of us to be able to deliver in spaces and places like this. So, I need you to be great. And we were, and we exceeded expectations. And I think, again, it was that made them say, okay, like, this is something really interesting here. The buzz and the feedback online that they got, again, confirmed to them, okay, this is something that, is really interesting. The first event, and then the second event we had, you started to see that, there was a lot more interest there. There's a lot more excitement from them. And they're now sort of, talking about sort of long-term, year-long sort of partnership relationship with them and things like that. But it really just came about from us understanding the value that we could bring, and, just knowing how to communicate that. The second partnership that I've been able to get is with Tide Bank. So the new alternative business banks, so predominantly online. Now that's, a huge £1 million company, and I reached out to the marketing team on LinkedIn, sent them, my sort of elevator pitch about who we are, again, facts and figures, and, showed them the value from that. And instantly they were like, yeah, let's jump on a call. Had a call with them, again, spoke to them about the reach that they would potentially be able to have, working with us. And instantly they were like, yeah, no brainer. Again, they wouldn't be able to target and reach underrepresented entrepreneurs in the way we would. So anyone within the network and community that we have, they're able to access a free business bank account for a year, because of that partnership. So it enables us to add value to those we serve in our community. And I'm very big on getting these big brands in to kind of, see the greatness that we're doing, and giving our community direct access to the products and services that benefit us that, we may not necessarily, see out there because they're not targeted at us. So that's kind of how I've been able to sort of, nurture and build and work on those relationships. And I'm going for more. Like, I want to be working with more big brands because I know it works, and I understand the value that, we can bring, and, similarly they can bring to us.
Yeah. Well, there's two things from that. So the first thing is, it really demonstrates the importance of consistency and consistently showing up online, because you wouldn't have ever known that that person necessarily was going to go and work at Microsoft and be able to add the value that subsequently she added by making that partnership with you and with Microsoft. Yeah. So I always say, I personally, I get social media fatigue, but what I make sure that I do is that I have posts scheduled. I work with an organization called Awesome, so check them out if you're looking for somebody to manage your social media, so that I've got something that's consistently going, and then when I'm in the mood, I can then do live posts, because it's the same as you need to be consistent, because I don't know who is in my followers that potentially is going to be looking at what I'm doing and open a door for me in the future. So that was the first thing. The second thing is, it's interesting. I had a conversation with a new client yesterday who wants to do something fairly similar to what you're doing, actually, but in a different area. Not focusing on entrepreneurs, but focusing on Black women specifically, and resilience and different things around that. And she was worried and saying she doesn't want to stipulate that she's going to be working with Black women, because is that going to kind of turn people off? And I said, well, actually, no. What it does is it creates a specific group that you can target, and actually there's value in that group. And you've essentially said that that's worked for you, and that's what I was trying to explain to her yesterday. And it's interesting, there's a lot of people that start businesses and have this kind of I target everybody type of thing, because they don't want to be seen as focusing on a niche group, and really there's benefits of that, as you've really just demonstrated there. You go.
Yeah, no, it's been hard though, and I and I get her concern. And I've been in meetings with people, and white people, and they said, "Oh, it doesn't look very diverse, your community." And I'm thinking, would you go to an all-white, community and tell them that this is not diverse? Like, you wouldn't. So what are you talking about? And we get it, and you have to decide whether you ride through that or not. And going to these organizations, sometimes it is a bit like, and it is just so hard. But I think now more than ever, it's a really good time. Everyone's, diversity, inclusion is, on the tip of everyone's tongue right now. And essentially the spaces that are out there are just not sufficient enough for all women to go and feel comfortable in those spaces. And one of the questions we asked in the focus group, when we sat down and spoke to the community, those people that kept coming and showing up at our events, is, would you mind if we opened it up to, sort of other cultures, communities, and so on and so forth? And some felt really strongly about the fact that this was their safe space. They have nowhere else to go to where they can have comfortable conversations about business with people that look like them and things like that. And we have changed slightly. I mean, so 90% of the community are Black. But we're slowly starting to see, say, men coming, people who identify with being underrepresented. It changes the conversation and the dynamic, because I think cultural differences is a beautiful thing as well. So, the conversations now and the perspectives in the room are shifting more positively because of, those different conversations that are now being able to have from people that see things or do things differently, which is nice. But yeah, I still want to make sure I protect it as a space for, women that essentially look like me, who have been riding and rocking with us from the beginning, because, it's something that they are now comfortable with, because they didn't have that previously. But it is hard. And, just even like what you say in terms of how you describe the community, Black, people of colour, BAME, even that, you really have to be mindful of how you're describing that, because you essentially have to control that narrative. Because when you're now out there in meetings or people are talking about you, I don't want people, saying BAME if that I'm not comfortable with that. It's underrepresented, and if you identify with that, then come down. So yeah, there's so many different. It's such a big question. But yeah, that's kind of how we've navigated that whole thing.
Yeah. So let's go back to you said it was a hair extension business.
Yeah.
So are you still running that?
Yes, I mean, Hustling Heels has kind of just taken off completely. So it's been put on the back burner. So I'm kind of in that phase of do I not? But it's hard, because that was, first business, or like business that we've focused on, registered, been running for like over 10 years now. So it is really hard. And I'm still in that space of do I, don't I? But yeah, I don't know. I'm still, it's a hard one. It is a hard one. But I think you also have to know when to let go.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I think so that's kind of where I'm at, figuring that out.
What was the process of starting that though? And I'm always intrigued, because I've run service-based businesses. That's always been my thing. Yeah. So whenever I meet anyone that has a product that they sell, I'm also always intrigued as to what were the steps that you took. So you decided, okay, I want to do a hair extension business. Where did you find the hair?
Yeah, Really good question, actually. And I for us, it was, we had just graduated uni. The recession had just started. I remember one of my last lecturers saying, "Good luck out there. You know, we don't know if you're gonna find a job, and if you do, how long that's gonna last." And I was just like, I've just spent 4 years at university for you to tell me good luck, and so I was just like, no, that I need security. So and I want to enjoy my first summer out of uni, like no papers I've got to write, no lecture I've got to go to. So like, how are we going to make money? And at that time, Virgin hair extensions was kind of coming up. We just realized what Beyonce has been wearing all these years, so it was just like, let's see what we can do here. So 3 of us got together, £500 each, and we went on to Alibaba, AliExpress, one of the two, and just started ordering samples from suppliers to see which one we thought would be the best. And that's how it began. We then decided we're going to have a one-day sale in Wood Green. We let the guy who was in the group, the 3 of us, pick the venue, and he picked some like community centre in the back of some alley down some estate. So we literally had to stand on Wood Green High Road and say to people, "Oh, we've got a hair sale down the round back." And like people would walk, and they kind of walk like a little way, and they'd be like, "Nah, it's fine. I don't need no hair." So it was so hard to get people there, but we did. We made a profit, and we were like, right, okay, let's reinvest this now into actually building a business and see what we can come of it. And that's where it really began. But prior to that, sort of having ideas and starting, sort of doing things and maybe selling like cupcakes or designing clothes and things like that. You don't really, I've never really thought about, structuring it into a business, like creating a website, So it was all a learning process. So the first, good, I'd say maybe 4 or 5 years, just literally failing to the next achievement, failing our way to the next achievement, figuring out, oh gosh, done that wrong, got to go back, do that again, and that's just kind of how we got to where we were. We had a huge amount of success when we were the first company to bring over the full lace wigs. So I had a video that went viral. So I had my wig on, and it had some like big plaits in it, and then I was sort of running my fingers through it and then lifted it up, and it kind of, everyone saw that it was a wig, and literally this video, like, it was getting millions of views, but we didn't know anything about branding or putting your website in this video. So lost a lot of sales as a result of that, but also made like thousands, tens of thousands during that time. And I remember it was actually this room that we're sitting in, like a factory churning out these wigs, and it was just like, how has this happened overnight? And I mean, no, let me not say it didn't happen overnight. As I said, that happened, it took a good couple of years, but it wasn't something we were anticipating. It wasn't something we were expecting. So now having to deal with that demand was absolutely insane. Did not sleep for about 2 months. And my mum, my sister, even my dad, like, we were churning out these wigs, Jamie, my business partner, was here, like, it was insane, absolutely insane, but you just had to meet that demand. But as a result of that, quality also went out the window as well. Because we were just, we had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wigs to get out, and we were just like, yep, right, go, yep, right, go. And we're like checking, if they sort of met up to the standard that people were expecting. So as much as we were making loads of money, a couple of people went to YouTube and, were absolutely battering us. And that is hard as well. Like, you're at the top of your game, you're making all this money, and then you've got someone on YouTube saying, it's a scam, don't buy their wigs, and you're just like, oh my goodness. And my face was the front of it because I was the one seen lifting off my wig. And it was, as much as it's such a great time, it was such a hard time behind the scenes, because you've got to still keep going because we've got all these orders to process. But at the same time, it's just like, what do you do? And we didn't have any sort of like PR training. We didn't know like what to do. So just kind of figuring all of that out. We then had to refund a lot of people's wigs because they were just like, yeah, no, it doesn't look like how it looked like on you. So yeah, it was just a whole journey, but really taught me so much about just, what you do when, things hit the fan, and you've just got to push through, figure it out, and keep going, essentially. So,
I love that story. And the funny thing is, when you told the story, as soon as you started saying about the wig thing, I'm like, I remember that.
That was me, yeah. I had so many people calling me like, what are you doing? Why? What? And I was just like, I know, like it's just gone out of control. I can't stop it now. It was definitely a thing. But so it went crazy. But at the same time, it was like everything was happening at once. We were just figuring this thing out, ourselves. The two of us didn't understand what business was, and even making all that money as well. It was just like, what do you do with that? Absolutely. Like as soon as it came in, it went out, because then you'll start, now people are sort of, oh, okay, do you need consultancy? Do you need help? Do you need this? Do you need that? Okay, well, I charge $2,500 a month. I charge $5,000 a month. And you're like, okay, yeah, I need that, clearly. So like as soon, I know, no. But anyway, naivety, and all that money went. But you live, you learn, you grow stronger as a result. And you have to go through it. You have to go through it. But that's kind of why I'm sitting here today, so passionate about helping other women, men, and whoever else just wants to kind of push through what it is to kind of bring this idea to life.
And I love that, because it really comes from a place of authenticity and experience. And one of the key things I always say is there's no one better to get business advice than from somebody who's run their own business. 100%. And also someone who's run their own business and made a lot of mistakes, because what you can teach is what not to do as well as what you should do. And I think that's really valuable.
No, definitely.
So you said you didn't necessarily have a website or any of those things, but with Hustle and Heels, one of the things that you clearly did do was do a lot of market research. Was that something that was really, although you said you generally weren't that structured, but did you have a structured plan, like, okay, we're going to do market research, this is what we're trying to find out, and this is how we're going to do it? Or was it kind of, we need to talk to people, bring them in, and let's work this out?
Yeah, a bit like that, honestly. I mean, when you just know, you get this gut feeling, I need to do something. I need to understand what it is we're doing here. We're having difficulty communicating or conveying what it is that we do. Pictures aren't doing the event any justice. If we don't capture someone smiling or in a comment, like, how do you? So it's just like, how are we going to understand this to be able to communicate it better? Oh, let's have a focus group and invite people that keep coming to our events down to kind of speak to them. And then, I mean, even that, like an actual focus group should be independently run. You shouldn't be the ones hosting it because it's a bit biased. But it was just like, we just need to know what we've got here. So there's never really much structure behind what we do. We do it. If it doesn't work, we figure something else out, we go again. And to get what we want, to just get that desired end result, And I always say, there's no blueprint to what we've created, and you just had to, we just, everything, just have to figure it out. Trial and error, fail, achieve, okay, fail, achieve. And that's just been the process. And there are no shortcuts to that. I hope that's answered your question. I think I'm
no, I love it, because even if there wasn't a structure behind it, the point is you recognize that there was a missing link, and only your customers could provide that information. I think a lot of the time, one of the kind of key areas that I focus on when businesses are trying to grow or improve what they're doing is you need to communicate with the people that are already buying from you. Find out what you're doing well, find out how you can improve. So I would love to hear when people actually do that, even if it is in a biased fashion. The point is, it was still done, and you still showed commitment to wanting to understand the value that you was offering. What if you have, well, do you have a specific vision of where you want this to go? What is kind of the dream for Hustle and Heels?
Yeah, it's funny, me and Jane, my business partner, we sit down sort of about November at the end, towards the end of the year, and we plan ahead for the next year. And just give ourselves, 3 months to really think about what the next year needs to look like, and a bit further afield. And I also do that personally for myself, like, what does my 1 year, 3 year, 5 year personal goals, business goals look like? And with Hustle and Heels, as I said, because it was, accidental business, as it were, it's been a bit harder. And we're very much led by the network. Like, what do you want? What do you need? Okay, right, we'll create an event for that. We'll get that person in to help you. But I definitely see it as being like the largest ecosystem for underrepresented entrepreneurs, both here in London, but even further afield. You know, like I'm going for it all. We're in the process of building out an online membership, so anyone anywhere in the world can, you know, tap into this. I'm in the process of creating weekly videos that will break down all the areas of business in really short, relatable ways. I provide templates, I provide video notes, absolutely anything you can think of to, you know, just kind of help you understand all the different areas of business. So that then sort of widens our reach globally, if you know, but it's really about understanding how we can serve the community, because there are other platforms out there that, you know, kind of target everyone and, you know, are that hub, but we don't have anything like that. And I definitely see Hustle and Heels being that, you know, place where everyone comes to, whether you're starting out, improving or growing, scaling. And I'm really kind of keen to also bring women in that are doing amazing things, running their own workshops, you know, coaching, you know, business support. Like, let's come in, let's bring it all in together. So if someone does need like a personal coach, you know, we can point them in direction. You know, if someone does need a mentor in X, we can point them in the direction. So just really being that central hub for anything business support related really is kind of where I see Hustle and Heels in, the next sort of 5 to 10 years.
Wonderful. 3 pieces of advice that you would give to a woman who has recently started a business or wants to start a business.
Start now, get perfect later. Procrastination is like, I used to be the queen of procrastination, honestly. Like, I remember one time it got so bad I had to do something that I just didn't want to do, and I remember cleaning my bathroom floor with a sponge because and it was like,
As you do.
like, who does that? But again, the queen of it. Mm-hmm. So don't be like me. Start now, get perfect later. The second one is, and it's so important, give yourself time to learn something new. So many people are like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Oh, I don't understand Instagram. I don't know what to do on LinkedIn. Give yourself 2 hours, sit on YouTube, watch a video, let someone break it down for you, make some notes, try it out. Give yourself time to learn the areas of, you know, your business or whatever it is that you don't understand. Read a book. Like, so many people just come and say, oh, I don't know that, I don't understand that. And it's just like, well, have you tried to help yourself in any way, shape or form? Like, I can support you, but I can't do it for you. You know, so definitely give yourself time to learn. 2 hours on an area that you're struggling with before you ask for help. I always, you know, do say that. And the second one is really just to remember that the only thing between you and success is what you don't do and who you don't know. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I'm known for saying. You know, I always remind people of it at our events, because, you know, the power of your network is just, I can't explain it enough. You know, we really need to, you know, be speaking to people, finding out what they're doing, even if they can't serve us or we can't buy from them. Like, we may have someone else that can do that. We can recommend and refer. Like, we really need to start building these ecosystems of our own. So, you know, connecting, finding out who it is you don't know that you can get the information from, whether it be for yourself or for someone else, and also taking information, like doing things with the information that you're given. Mm-hmm. I'll sit down and I'll do consultations with people, and you give them all this time and energy, and as you can see, I'm quite like, so by the time I finish with you, like, I am like, I've given everything to you. You know what I mean? And people won't do anything with it, and you're like, oh, I just spent 2 hours of my life, you know, with you. And so
I hate that, by the way. It really winds me up.
Honestly, like, so when people give you time, when people give you information, you know, knowledge, support, take it, implement it, use it. And that's really how you're just going to start to see that momentum, that progress, you know, and you moving forward. So yeah, they're my 3 tips.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. If people want to find out more about you and Hustle and Heels, what platforms are you on? Where can they find you?
So our website, which is all the W's and then hhll.co.uk. On social media, it's at hhlluk. on all the social media platforms. We have free marketing masterclasses that we run for the British Library. So I have 120 sessions of this 3-hour marketing masterclass to deliver over the next year and a half. So I've got my work cut out there. So if anyone needs free marketing support, 3-hour workshop with me, come down, absolutely free. And it's run across 10 London libraries, 10 London boroughs in different libraries. So really accessible to everybody. All of our events are free at the Microsoft store in London. So we have those every single month. It's usually the second or the third Thursday in the month from 6 till 9, but all of the information is on the website. I mean, essentially anything that you need to start, improve and grow your business, that's what we're here for, that's what we do. So yeah, check us out.
Fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. I've really enjoyed talking to you and finding out more, and wishing you success with achieving all of the goals that you have for your business and for yourself. So thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening, for watching. As usual, if anything has resonated, please write a comment. Make sure that you like, you share with your networks. And if you haven't already done so, please subscribe and follow so that you can watch more of these inspirational, motivational talks with women in business. And if you are sitting at home and you want to start a business, or you've started a business and you're looking to grow, also get in touch. Daniela at she'sthebossintl.com. I provide one-to-one business support via Zoom, so you can be anywhere and I can support you with starting and growing a sustainable, profitable, systems-led business. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week at 8 on Sunday for more She's the Boss Female Entrepreneur Stories.